Good evening, I'm Julie Chen.
Wake up, everybody!
But first,
I cannot. On my daughter's birthday. Disgusting. Anybody want cake?
I want to welcome you guys all to my big brother funeral.
Can't find an individual to hate because I hate you all.
Welcome to Not Game, All Personal. Hey, we are a Big Brother podcast here talking about all things Big Brother, more specifically the events of this past week. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. How are you, Tony?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great, because
Off a great game of volleyball.
I lost 2 out of the 3 matches, so to bring that up at a time like this is just cruel. No, I was going to say, we won. Hashtag free Catherine. Am I right? Have you been seeing that movement?
Yeah, heck, she seemed so happy. Yeah, I'm pleased. that was a weird silence. I didn't know what to do. Yeah. I mean, I'm pleased more so that now I don't have to listen to people complain about it.
Oh wow! So
Do
you
I
don't
think
even
he
care
was
about
being
her
a
own
little-
personal safety. You're just
No,
all about the.
I think he was hey, take it easy. From my perspective, he was being a creep. She did not seem to be like she was into him too, and does that make it okay? Certainly not, but like she didn't raise any red flags as far as I know. Maybe I'm not in the know entirely. But yeah, I feel like he was being a little bit of a creep, so whatever, it's fine. But I wasn't like I hate this guy, but I was sick of people talking about how much they hated him and talking about like I feel like there was so much talk of like things that he did before Big Brother or things that would have disqualified him from Big Brother without there being any actual legitimate source to that being a thing. So somebody would be like, yeah, you know that he has like this other child, and they'd be like, all right, cool, can you like tell me where you saw that or what your source is? And there's just no source. Or like, oh, he's
well,
done
I'm pretty
all this,
sure
but
the baby mama has been pretty vocal.
I think initially, but there's other stuff where it's like I haven't seen much actual content about this, and we don't know if she is. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Wow.
I'm not saying I like Riley.
We got a Riley defender. That's all I'm hearing.
No. All right, let's start over again. Let's restart the podcast. I'd like to start over.
No, we don't have to get too much into it. I will say, I mean, obviously, I do think he's a creep too. From a third party, this is going to be a very, I don't even know. This might get me in trouble, okay? But from a third party standpoint, I have found the whole situation fascinating. Just to like be a fly on the wall and witness just like the breakdown, I guess, of someone's own personal, like, I don't know, standards, value. I don't know how to say it especially because like we talked beginning of the season, Catherine comes in, self-proclaimed,
Raging feminist.
Raging feminist. That's it, right? So like on paper, Riley is not the guy you would expect a self-identified raging feminist to be attracted to. And I think there's been a lot of like just I found the conversation somewhat interesting just as far as like when you are in that situation, how you just do not see the signs that other people see. And so for us to have just a 24/7 access and pick up on every little detail, and like his mannerisms, his tone of voice, and for her to be just like blinded by that, like I would just assume if she saw this happening to someone else, and maybe I'm wrong, like she would step in and be like, hey, this guy's a little like controlling, But the fact that she isn't, and I don't know, like maybe she comes out of this, sees all the evidence laid out, and is still like, I still love him. Okay, great, that's her choice. But like, I think a lot of people are assuming that she will not feel like that. And if that's the case, I just find that a fascinating case study of like how relationships like this can start and how people get stuck in them. You know, because it's like if you get any
Mhm.
farther, like if you go 2-3 years dating someone without seeing the signs, it's almost like too late to get out of. So again, that is completely like morbid to view her as like this little guinea pig of like, oh, interesting, because like this is a real person that
Mhm.
like clearly the internet has taken a lot of strong stances on, but I don't know. I think I'm choosing to view this as like a lesson and a
Yeah.
fascination. And honestly, like these shows, some of my favorite parts are when they can become that, like a little window into
Mhm.
society and see these
I
people
mean,
like meld together.
that's what it started as. That was like it was a social experiment the entire first season. They would bring in like sociologists to talk about like the social dynamics in the
They would,
house and
wouldn't
what
they?
it looks like. Yeah, it was a whole thing. Yeah, that's a really good point. Like when you're in it, you don't necessarily see the signs. I think the fascinating thing to me is like he seen from what I've seen is pretty well liked in the house. And like I said, she has not she's like stood her ground and like has like held off on certain things and like not given into everything that he requests for sure, but like has fallen for him in some capacity at least, as is at least into him and cares about him in that way. And so like yeah, just seeing how vastly different he's viewed in the house by her and everybody else, and how everybody outside the house just despises him, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's for the best, just so because everybody like I looked at the hints or whatever for who the person was gonna be. I looked at the comments and it was like you get or it was like remove Riley, remove Riley. Yeah, it's Boston Rob, but also remove Riley. Like that was all of the responses were just like get him out of here. And I feel like that was just going to be the case for weeks, and so this is probably best case scenario for CBS is like getting him out a different way and not having to deal with it. Though I'm sure they're going to be upset that Julie didn't confront him about any of it.
Yeah, it is an interesting like moral dilemma of like what is there a point that CBS would step in? And there has been, you
Hmm.
know, like usually the physical altercations are like
Yeah,
maybe the only ones, unless you throw a piece of equipment in the pool, you know, that's another example.
yeah,
But like when it's not that, when it is just like, again, if you just want to assume the worst of him as far as like emotional manipulation, I don't know what other terms you would throw it, like, I don't know, because like part of the show is supposed to be just this passive viewing of these people. And that is like really difficult. And I do wonder if these shows have a policy of like when would it be too far? Like would it have to be
hmm
something physical? Which I again, this is a very dark conversation. I get it, but like, would that be the
yeah.
case where CBS would step in? I don't know because again, I'm not thinking like he did anything to cross a line to get kicked off. You know, I think this is one
Mm-mm.
of those things where it's like I don't know. I think society will have its way with him, and so I think that'll be enough consequence that CBS doesn't need to do anything. Uh, but I don't know. I'm just like wondering where that line is because it feels like a lot of people have a different line than I or CBS might have.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And we've seen some like wild situations and like maybe not maybe not in like a showmance like this, but like bullying and things like that that they've let continue and let go on and just kind of let them work themselves out in a lot of ways. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like they try not to interfere in any way, but I have to think that like the questions they ask, I'm sure they at some point they probably had a conversation with Riley or at least asked him questions that if any smart person could be, ooh, they must be viewing me this way. Like if I'm playing the game, every diary question, I'm trying to glean things about the game from the questions that they're asking me. And there's probably some fake ones in there, but there's also some real ones where it's like, "Oh, what do you think of this player?" And it's like, "Oh, that must matter. Why else would you ask me that, you know?"
Yeah, but you
But
might be giving
who
them a lot
knows?
of credit for being smart because I don't know if this cast has got those instincts.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that. But
the
anyways, Riley's gone, whatever.
Yeah. The
Overjoyed.
only other thing I'll say on it is I think my biggest issue was more so the edit behind it, and I think especially last night, the Wednesday night episode, because they just got the lovey-dovey showman's edit. And even if you want to be generous with the Catherine's equally interested in him, they definitely chose the most generous clips to showcase like the highest form of that, because objectively looking at their relationship, it is not nearly as good as the edited episode laid it out to be. So I think like that's where I'd take issue, because I'm not expecting CBS to kick him out or like interfere as directly as people wanted, but when you are showcasing almost the exact opposite of what's actually happening, and even more so, I felt like the diary room gave way more of him giving the context rather than her, which is also like we did hear from her, and again, as of now, she's clearly into it, so like whatever, but it was more so him laying it out and him almost giving him a platform to defend himself. Like, I'm just a lovey person, and I'm very forward and blah, 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 like to justify. And so that was the part I didn't like. So I'm glad that CBS can't do that anymore because he's out of the house.
Yeah, I will always hate how fat, and it's been 40 days now of these people being together, so that's worth saying. But how attached these people get, and they're the only people you see for 40 days, so like it's fine, whatever, I understand it. But it just, yeah, I feel like people move so quickly to like best friends, and then the betrayals are that much more heartbreaking, and you take them that much more personally, and it's a whole thing in this show, which is why we love it probably. But
I will say, to segue, that along with pretty much every event this week, I thought this was an excellent week of Big Brother. I was having a great time. The episodes were good. Every day I was trying to keep up, seeing who's talking with who. We had new alliances. The live episode worked exactly as it should as far as the blockbuster. We had a blindside, a split house, as close of a split as you can get. Yeah. And some great blindside reactions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a fantastic week, and I think I'm starting to really like this season. Can I say that? Is that allowed?
You can. And I was talking to some people the other day, and it was like, what do you think of the season? And they're just like, it's awful.
Do people still? I haven't really talked to people that much about it. Do people still think that?
Yeah. To me, they know what's going on. I don't think they're necessarily casual viewers. Some of them might be, but it's like, yeah, I didn't even know how to respond and say that it's good. It's like, it's messy. There's no like people dominating, but I'm kind of on your side that you were saying with like Q and Survivor, where it's like, that's what makes it good, is that none of these people are actually that good at the game, but all of them are capable of making a move here or there that is good, or doing something stupid that just blows up in their face. Every single one of them. And I feel like we have a lot of strong players left, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm very interested to see where it goes. And I feel like I've gone on a journey with multiple players where I either loved them at first, and now I'm starting to see their flaws and be like, okay, maybe it's not all there, or I hated them at first, but now I'm starting to see like, nah, they're actually pretty good players. Like, I don't like them, but like I see what they're doing, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. So like that, it's, I don't know, been very fun character arcs of these people.
Completely agree. And I think it is just it's a little difficult to keep up with, I think, because everyone is so fluid. I mean, like, you look at the voting blocks like week to week. People are not voting together. There are people that you thought were, like, oh, they're locked in final two. They'll, stay together the entire, like, nope, they're voting again. They're voting opposite ways. It really feels like a fluid situation where people are playing week to week. And I think it's like difficult to track and navigate. And I do wonder when we get to the end of the season if there are going to be players that stand out, have actually playing a good game, but because it is not the typical way that you are a good Big Brother player, we're kind of missing it. And I don't know. I just like, I have that question where it's like, like, oh, this was like a sloppy move. It's like, but it worked in their favor and they're still in the game. And maybe if we see the full picture, it's going to like make more sense. But I don't know. Like, we don't have, I think, one, and we've seen this trend for the past few seasons now, like, there's not a big dominating alliance, you know? And I do think like we might have just kicked that. Like, we could be over that phase of an era of Big Brother. And also, there's not so much like this mastermind in the house that is like pulling the strings or getting their way, you
Yeah.
know? Because like even last season, I think like we saw Chelsea pretty early on was like, oh, she's just going to coast to the end, and she ended up doing that, you know, hiding behind. And like, there's not really those players this season. If there are, they get called out and they get exposed, and it's like everyone's game is on the table. And so I do wonder if this season isn't landing as well with other people because it is so unique from other Big Brother seasons. And I just wonder, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing yet, and we probably won't know until we crown a winner and can view their game as a whole.
Yeah, I think there's this thought process that like good seasons are seasons where there's like a couple people playing with really good gameplay, and that's what makes a good season. And I think, like I said, like I'm coming around on like the messier part. Like right now, I don't know. I could see a world where just about everybody in the house wins, except for maybe one or two, and that's like not a position that I'm usually in, but that's genuinely how I feel, and I think it's just how everything breaks in the day-to-day decisions. I think there were decisions this week that could make or break a player's game entirely, and I think that's. But also, it could just be swept under the rug because these people don't know what they're doing half the time. It feels like so.
Yeah.
It's there's not a single person who's like blemishless, and I don't think that like what's her name? Who won last year? You just said her name.
Chelsea.
Chelsea. I was like, Christy, no. Chelsea. Like pretty early on she had some blemishes for sure, but she like for the most part played a pretty clean, pretty solid game and found herself some allies and cooked. Everybody in this house says something dumb weekly, it feels like, or does something dumb. And it's just it's I think more entertaining. But I'm not gonna like fight people on that because that's just not gonna go well ever.
Well, I think like the two reasons that I see of why it is the way it is, and I think we said this like weeks ago. It feels like everyone is playing. Like I couldn't even tell you who's playing the least. Like maybe Catherine. Like looking at the list right now, like that would be my vote, but that could change now, you know. But like outside, like every single person is in conversations. They all matter as far as the vote goes. They're all flip flopping alliances. Like everyone is actively playing the game, and that's not the case with other seasons. And then I also think, I mean, I guess this kind of goes along with what I just said, but like the fact that they're all like flip flopping, I don't like everyone needs to be taken into consideration, you know? So when it comes down to like a blindside like tonight, every single vote matters because everyone's flip flopping. So you can't just count on like this side versus this side or like this voting block. And so I think because, and like I said, everyone's game is kind of wide open. There's not like a ton of secrets in this house. It makes it so much more interesting and so much more like dependent on the smallest things as far as like who wins this veto, because if they win this veto, that means I can't put up this person or this person, and I don't know. So it's like I just think it's so different than other seasons.
It certainly is. And I think one of the most interesting parts of it is half the house I think still sees it as one side versus the other. Like I think Keanu and Lauren and Kelly and and even Riley and Catherine, like a couple of them at least, still viewed it as like our side versus their side. Now, obviously, Keanu is starting to have like a relationship with Rachel, and they're working together. And Lauren or Catherine and Riley were kind of working with that side of the house as well. But I feel like a couple of them still see it as this side versus that side, whereas I think the other side of the house definitely have broken into factions, and there's no like complete alliance over there. And so I don't know, the perception of the house still feels like they're playing Big Brother from a few years ago, but with our point of view, we know that it's not that simple, and there's so much Like you could be 100% allies with somebody and you would have different targets, and that's not a common thing in Big Brother.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's an interesting way of putting it because I think especially like you look at where the votes landed tonight, you know, like the minority was Catherine, Keanu, Kelly, and then Lauren, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so even with that, like you might view this as like, okay, well, you know, Catherine, Keanu, and Kelly were already in that minority for one vote. What was it like 2 weeks ago? I think with the
Mm-hmm.
or 3 weeks ago when they wanted to keep Adrian. So it's like, well, that's not new. That's not exciting. But like, you got the interesting twist of like Lauren being a little blindsided by Vince tonight. You know, like that's not cool.
He
Like, what's going
blindsided
on?
3 of his final twos, which just want to note quick that bit of him forgetting the final twos he was in. I thought it was hysterical.
Mhm.
That's such a funny problem to have that you make so many final twos that you're like, wait, do I have a final two with this person? Yeah, totally. What's still on for sure. And then voting against him, crazy, crazy move.
Well, I think Vinny's probably the best example of like what I'm talking about because like that man is playing so hard but so sloppy and flip flopping away because like you remember like to me and maybe this is just like the week one. I still in the back of my mind think that him and Kelly are the real final two. And
Hmm.
I don't think that's the case, but like subconsciously, I think I'm still thinking that direction because
Yeah.
like I remember that. Like I remember when she volunteered to go on the block during his week one HOH, and they're like final
Hmm.
two. Oh, no one will see us coming. Blah blah blah. And then what happened? He blindsided her by not voting the direction she thought he was going to vote, and then they kind of fell apart, and now they're kind of coming back together. But now the same thing's happening with him and Lauren, where like he has a final two, she brought him off the block this week, and he blindsides his final two again. So his gameplay, I think, speaks to how a lot of people are playing it, where it's like you're not actually doing anything to help your
Yeah.
case with your alliance or your final two deals or anything. Like you're just playing so sloppy minute to minute, and you could flip on any moment's notice and not tell your allies that you're going to do so, but it's not working against you yet because clearly you're still in
Yeah.
the house. And if you end up winning this game, I'm going to have to justify how you had a good game.
Yeah. It's he seems to be doing, and I don't think it's right, but who knows? You never know in this game. It could end up working out for him. But like he knows that he's high on the target list for Rachel's side of the house for a lot of those people. And so he decided to go that direction to like save face. And also I guess he's saving face with two people. Like if he voted out Morgan, Mickey would have been pissed. If he and Mickey was one of his closer people. You know, like he had close alliances both sides. And that's the risk of getting so many alliances, dude. Is like you're gonna like they're not gonna be on the same side of the house, and you're gonna have to do this. And now he's turned on the other on Keanu and Kelly and Lauren twice, and he's gonna have to try to explain that. I think Lauren he'll probably be able to convince her. It just seems like, but I don't know. I still think Lauren has a decent head, like a decent strategic mind, but she's too scared to actually do anything. I think is what I see. Like I feel like she knows what she
I
should
have
do,
no idea what to
but she
think about
gets
her.
too scared. That's what it feels like.
Hmm.
She did it this week. She pulled the trigger, which kudos to her. But yeah, it's just it's so sloppy and it's so good, and it's just the best part.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no idea how I feel about Lauren. And I kind of love that once again she wins a competition similar to her HOH that like she probably shouldn't be winning because now
Yeah.
it's putting the spotlight on her. Because like the edit for her last week, I mean, just completely invisible, and we talked about it, just like complete furniture in the house, like non-existent, which is not a horrible place to be if you're gonna eventually build up your resume, like
Hmm.
positioning wise. Fine, never gonna be a target, right? But somehow, because these other players are that dumb to just let her win OTEV by default because they can't get the answer right, she ends up winning veto and all of a sudden becomes the
Yeah.
most important person in the house where the three nominees all think they have a shot of her using the veto. You got Rachel Riley, who might be one of the worst person to have as HOH that you're gonna go against. Like that is, and she ends up. So I like again. I will give her, but like, do I give her credit because like was this a strong power move or was this just her being influenced and manipulated into using it? I don't know, and I might not know until I learn what her fate's gonna be for this season.
Are you saying Lauren when you say
Yeah,
what?
yeah, Lauren.
I think using it on Vince was, to me, like, if I was in that position, that feels like a clear move that you have to make. Like, he is your number one ally, and you know that he's somebody that people want to get out of the house. I feel like Rachel's just not, like, Rachel's upset now. I don't think if Rachel wins HOH next week, she's going to, like, put Lauren up. And if she does, it's just so that Lauren can't take Vince down again. Like, I don't think she's going to be targeting Lauren. I don't think the house is going to be targeting Lauren. I just can't see that. Unless it's just to hurt Vince, I guess. But I don't think Vince is that big of a player that that's necessary.
Yeah, I just think it definitely put more eyes on her that could influence future weeks. Because, again, I think Catherine forgave her eventually. But, like, her initial thing was, like, I told you not to use the veto, right? Which she did. Like, she's like, do not use this because if you use it, Riley would go up. So I think there's a chance that, like, Catherine can hold this against her a little bit. There was that moment where Kelly, I think, went up to Vince and was like, are you and Lauren that close? Like, I'm shocked she used the veto, you know? So I think, like, this does now, like, group Lauren and Vince together more so than they originally were. So, yes, I don't think she's going to be a direct target, but, like, it could just open it up later on.
Yeah, but there's this perception that he's just manipulating her. And I think the duo, like their game relationship, I want to be clear on that because I don't think he's being a creep at all. I think their game relationship is definitely more beneficial for him, but I don't think it hurts her at all to like work with Vince and like help him and do like I don't think it was a huge deal that she did this. Now, it can hurt her game if she like continues to put her game on the line for him after he continues to vote against her. But like I don't know. This kind of goes to Rachel's like you guys need to not like let her make her own decision and not manipulate her. And it was Rachel gaslighting them for sure. I think Rachel was upset, so she was like, "You guys are bad people because you're doing this." But that like makes me mad, even though it's not necessarily a bad game move. That always makes me annoyed when it's like you were doing the same thing. Like you were like, "Oh, if I just tell her she's awesome, she won't use the veto. Oh, she's gonna use the veto. Now I'm gonna threaten her." Like this house is so full of people who think they're good at convincing people, and none of them are. Literally none of them. I would
mean,
think.
apparently Vinny is.
Apparently Vinny, but like they've been working together for weeks, so you don't have to convince a person you've been working together for weeks to use a veto on you necessarily. He had to like talk to her a little bit, but I don't think he was ever like, "You need to use it on me." But that's just me. What do I know? What do I know? But yeah, none of them know what they're doing, dude. They just keep. A few weeks ago, when Vinny like fake cried to a couple people to try to win them over, and they would show him in the diary room, like, "What are we doing, dude?" I think it was Will and maybe Rachel, and they're like, "What's going on? Like, why are we doing this?" They're all so bad. And Kelly's just bad at getting anybody on her side. I just want to mention her.
And I like that there's like different levels of bad because I think you got people like Lauren who I don't think she's like fantastic at the game, but her issue is more that she's just like so indecisive and so reliant on like people telling, and we saw that with her HOH. But then you got people like Keanu who is way too overly confident.
Too decisive.
I don't know if I've seen him have a correct read. Like every definitive statement he has is just wrong. And you have
so confident though.
Rachel Riley of all people correcting him, and he's like, no, that's not true. Like what? There was one point where I think she was trying to convince like they're like, well, Catherine and Riley are each other's number ones, and he's like, oh, I don't think that's true. She's like, Keanu, like I'm telling you, like they are going to keep each other over. He's like, no, Riley's my guy. Like, what do you mean? And so I do appreciate. And then there's like I think the people in the middle that I don't know, because like it sounds crazy, but again, after these like past 2 weeks especially, I'm looking at people like Will and Ashley and Ava as some of the most level-headed. Like, you're playing and you have these incorrect moments, but you're less incorrect than the other people. So like by default, do I think like Ashley's playing one of the best games and has the best read? Maybe by default. I don't know.
Nathan, I started to come to that conclusion this week, and I said in past weeks that I came to that conclusion with Ava a few weeks ago, and she had some issues with her HOH. We talked about those, but everybody has, like I said, everybody has blemishes. Same with Will. I talked last week about the things that bothered me about him, but he is.
Which, I mean,
like,
none of those were game related, right? Like, you didn't have any
no,
issues.
none of them were game related.
You just want him to be honest in the DR.
This week when he was just like, half time I'm not even listening, that was kind of funny. And him just like repeating the last words out of their mouth like back to them. And them just being like, yeah, like you understand. And that's just hilarious. And Ashley, I still don't like Ashley, but every time she's like, that definitely isn't, you're supposed to be my ally and you shouldn't be doing that, she's always correct. And she's always like, why are we doing this? What's this about? Maybe I shouldn't trust you. And like, yeah, it's all the people I don't want to like are actually playing pretty well, which is a wild thing. But like I said, shouldn't have taken a 2-hour shower in the HOH on the first night. Still shouldn't have done that. There's a blemish right there.
Yeah, well, and it is funny too because if you remember, her and Vinny were actually working together week 1 as well. And he put her up. So again, there's an ally he apparently had that he just blindsided.
When you have that much house pressure, it's hard not to do that, though.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm
Like,
not saying it was wrong,
yeah.
but
yeah, still, he had like given her safety. He was like, "Hey, none of us four are gonna go up," and then goes back on it.
Yeah, yep, 100%. Okay, we should probably actually get to some of the details of the strategy this week.
I think it was a lot of good conversation.
No, it was great. I'm not saying it wasn't. I am curious, how did you feel when you first learned that Rachel Riley was going to be the HOH?
I think I knew that she would do something interesting. There are, you knew if Rachel Riley's going to be HOH, she's going to go after who she thinks she needs to go after. She's not going to put up the safe options. I think that is it that you read the same as me, that's who she is as a person. And so I knew that would be interesting. I didn't think it would be 3 people who I drafted in our draft. But all 3 survived, so I'm fine with it now. I knew
that's just absurd, right? Like the fact that she
Crazy.
she nominates 3 of them and they all somehow are still here.
I have 4 people. One of them's already gone, the one she was closest to, and then she nominates the other 3. And yeah, the fact that they're still there is bananas.
Yeah. I was like really feeling good about my odds, but yeah, I think, and I don't know, like, are we just getting lucky? Because it feels like every HOH is just like the exact thing the season needs to make it interesting. And I do think like she was the best option because like those are 3 people. I know, oh gosh, who was HOH last week? Well, it wasn't Ava, was it? Oh, it was. Yeah.
Oh, it feels like so long ago.
It does. It didn't sound
through
right.
the season. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That we're halfway there.
But like, so like Vinny saw the block last week, but like Mickey and Morgan, I mean, like when I was like, oh, let's go. You know, not that like I want them gone necessarily, but like I want to see everyone touch the block in some capacity just to see them scramble, just to see them under pressure. So like,
yeah,
I don't know. I was so excited that it was Rachel of all people. And not only did we get like a pretty explosive triple nomination, but then like the veto ceremony as well led to arguably an even more explosive outcome. And yeah, I don't think any other HOH would have done that.
Nope.
And again, I know you're not the biggest fan, but like I do think she's kind of like the perfect vet to bring on a season like this where you only have one. Because
she's not actually that good.
I don't think she's not good. Her strengths are
she's
not. she's messy, and she is not, because like the biggest issue, obviously, like we always point to season 19, right? Like that was just a terrible season. Paul's not like a terrible person or a terrible player, but like that type of gameplay is just so manipulative to throw into a house of newbies. And
Yeah.
Rachel isn't that player. She's not one, like she's never been one to like draw up a large alliance, to have followers. She's never been one to like backstab or like her thing is her gameplay is so upfront. And so I think that is the type of vet you want in this season. And so like her winning HOH, like I don't think she left this week necessarily with a lot more followers or just an easy ride to the end. I still think she's going to have it pretty tough if she wants to get to the final two, but that doesn't stop her from nominating some pretty big hitters and throwing her game a little bit in jeopardy, because I don't know. I don't think any of, except for maybe, actually I don't know. It's tough to tell, like, because now Vinny and Morgan are apparently in an alliance with her, so maybe she did set
Do you see
herself up for
anyone
success.
taking a shot at her at this point?
Mickey,
Catherine?
Mickey and
Mickey
Catherine,
even her,
yeah.
her and Mickey even kind of made up and were like hanging out this week.
I mean maybe, but like I don't trust Mickey. Mickey seems pretty
Yeah,
she seems like someone that would want revenge.
Trying to plant these seeds and everybody immediately is like, that's weird what you're doing. What's that about? Stop doing that.
And everyone can see through it. I love it. I love that. The fact that Morgan picked up on the M&Ms, amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, you got M&Ms out.
I was doing that, and now you shouldn't be doing that with somebody else. And it's one of those things where like, oh, you said it a few years ago in Survivor where it's like, yeah, it's a stupid thing to get upset about, but it's not incorrect that there's something there. And that's a good read that you realize that the M&Ms is an issue, that they're having that conversation with someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't really know. Like, there was part of me that kind of wanted to see Mickey go this week. But I think more of like, I don't want her to get away with it. Because I think like after the Sunday night episode, I don't know, it was like a little annoying how just like hypocritical she was, and I know I got on you for complaining about people being hypocrites in the game.
Yeah, don't give me this crap. I'm not having it.
But like, you know, she's crying in the DR because like Rachel backstabbed her, and I would never, when the episode and everyone else clearly laid out like, no, this makes the most sense. You had it coming. You were gonna target her. So like, there's part of me that kind of wanted to see her, you know, go and just, I don't know, face the real world and be like, oh wait, I did target her. But I do think for the sake of like good season and drama, you know, maybe her winning HOH this week is best case scenario for good TV.
Yeah, I mean her winning HOH would definitely be super interesting. But yeah, there was a part of me that was like, yeah, I wouldn't hate seeing her go, but the idea of Riley being out of the house and not having to deal with that crap was definitely trumped that by a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Mickey was really good at first. That she's everybody has taken me just on a journey on how I feel about them. And that's been really fun this season. And I don't think the journey's over. I think I'm going to get like real down on some people that right now I'm really high on, and that's just how it's going to go.
I think she definitely falls in the category of like overly confident when she shouldn't be and just being like incorrect. And I think trying to just pull off more, and I think like, I mean, she said it perfectly, like when she's trying to plant these seeds and everyone's just seeing through it, including like her closest allies, you know, like the fact that like she might not have Morgan anymore, although we've been kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's been a couple weeks of just being teased with that, and we haven't really had to see them face off. Like that should be interesting, but I think like Ashley's onto her, Rachel's onto her, you know, so I don't know. I think like it's been quite the downfall without actually having a technical downfall yet, especially since she survived.
Yeah. Where do you think that overconfidence comes from in these new players? Do you think they've just always been like the social light, the center of attention, and so they just have this like confidence coming into the game. Or like I don't know. I don't even know if that's something we can pinpoint because we don't know that much about each of these people individually, but
Mm-hmm. I
there's a couple
think
people that just have so much of it, and it's like, where does this come from? Like, you've never played a game like this before. Why do you think you're just gonna effortlessly convince all of these people to do your bidding?
I think at least, and I'm not sure if Mickey's a super fan, because I think like Vinny is. Although
Vinny is
he did admit that he's never watched season 10. Because I think there was a
that's tough.
conversation where he's like, I've never actually seen a Dan Giesling season, and he's like, oh wait a minute, no, I did watch when Ian won, and so I don't know.
Have
It's
you
hard to
ever?
tell how much of a super fan any of these people are.
Did you see the post that was like each house guest's favorite seasons?
Yeah, like preseason, right? They
None of them were like a good 4 seasons. All of them had at least one stinker in there. Bunch of them
Mhm.
had like BB19 and stuff. It's like I don't understand how you have these options.
Well, I think, and it was actually interesting. I saw a lot of good takes on like that graphic specifically because a lot of the common denominators are probably seasons that they showed them in Sequester.
Oh, for
So
sure.
like
Yeah.
season 19, and I think that's why people concluded that like Rachel Riley might get there because a lot of them had like season 12 or 13 and also season 19 with a returning vet. So like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's hard to find any like true super fan because even the ones that are could have just binged them within the past 3 months when they learned they were going to be on the show. And but I think like with Vinny and also Mickey, like if they are super fans, I do think like it is impossible to know the show that well and equally do as good because the things that like to look for, like these are the phrases that if someone says to me they're a good ally, or like I need to, if they say this I'm in trouble. And oftentimes like I don't know, like you just don't see that when you're in the house. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're missing out on all these conversations, and I don't think people take that into account. So like from Mickey's perspective, she's playing a great game because all these people are saying the right things to her. And it sounds like so stupid to miss that detail of like what are they saying behind my back, but I do think like there's certain personalities that don't take that into consideration, that assume like the world ends when you leave the room. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
these conversations are happening, and that's why I do think we see a lot of times newer players uh, sometimes even do better than super fans, because I think super
Yeah.
fans you have to have like the right personality of a super fan to be good at Big Brother. It's not just by
Mm-hmm.
default. You know what to do.
And I think being a super fan, you always come in with that overconfidence, and that's like the worst thing that you can have in all of Big Brother. I feel like is overconfidence. You want a healthy amount of paranoia, not enough to that it shows and that makes other people uncomfortable, but you have to be questioning things constantly.
Yeah. I mean, like we saw the run of super fans with Frenchie and Daniel, that just flame out so
Mm-hmm.
early. But then you had like a super fan like Chelsea last year who used
Yeah.
that to her advantage because Mackenzie just didn't know how the final two worked, and that's like it really helped her. So
Yep.
I don't
That
know.
always
It's a
helps.
it's a give and take. Who else do you want to talk about?
We've hit on a lot of them. A bunch of people faded to the background this week. Like Ava was nowhere to be seen. Kelly was there a couple times, but she feels like she's definitely faded into the background. Her and
Mm-hmm.
Keanu not being on the block this week is crazy. Just wanted to mention that. Um, yeah, I don't know. Is there anybody else that you want
The
to talk
only thing
about?
I will say about Ava is I know she was a big swing vote along with Vinny of getting
Yeah.
Riley out. And I know the two of them had a lot of conversations that weren't completely seen on the episode, but I even know like last
Mm-hmm.
night and going into today on the live feeds. So she's someone I'm kind of still have my eye on, and I'm a little surprised she wasn't included in the Judges Alliance. I wonder if she'll
Mm-hmm.
be an addition because like those are a lot of people she has been playing with. Like I don't necessarily group her in with the Kelly, Keanu, Catherine side.
Oh,
So
definitely not.
I'm very curious, like how her and Rachel's relationship is, because it is a little funny on Rachel's HOH. Ava wasn't as much of a vocal part of the strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. Because Rachel is a huge part of hers.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how she would feel about her like week and her positioning this week. Like I think she probably felt safe, and maybe that's why we didn't see her dolls because she just felt comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, because like anytime
yeah,
you would like flip to the HOH room, it felt like a lot of Will and Ashley up there with
Mhm.
Rachel, which like made sense. But I don't know, like maybe Ava feels so good about her positioning that she didn't feel the need to overcomplicate it, which like maybe is
Mhm.
fine. Although like if this Judges Alliance is legit and she is left out of it, that's going to be a big mistake that she didn't try to get in when, things were in motion.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always hard to see. I feel like you're always going to be left out of certain alliances, and I'm not even. The Judges is another one of those alliances where it's like, all right, is this really going to stick?
Yeah.
Because if Vinny had voted the other way, it would have just been blown up, and it wouldn't have been a thing. Because obviously Morgan would have been gone, and he would have voted against them. He seems, at least he specifically seems to be really hoping that the Judges is a real thing and that it continues. But who knows? Like it just is so up in the air.
Yeah, there's part of me that wonders if they just really tried to push it for the sake of getting his vote, cuz like the four of them were already like
Maybe.
gonna vote out Riley, um and they like needed him to be a part of that. So I wonder if that was part of the convincing, and where
He
is
was a
if
weird addition.
he was, and I think that could be why it was, cuz like
Mm-hmm.
Catherine not gonna do it, Lauren, if after using the veto on Vinny and assuming that she's tied to him, like they're not going to take her over. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Keanu Kelly, why that wasn't. I don't know, but like maybe just because like Morgan and Vinny do have that rapport, So Morgan was like, I can bring him in. Like that could be it. I don't know, but I think that would make the most sense, especially Ava not being included. Like maybe this is just a fake alliance just to get him to vote with them this 1 week, and they just didn't feel the
Mm-hmm.
need to include Ava because they already knew they had her. That's the only way it makes sense to me, but I could be completely wrong in the next
Yeah,
few episodes.
it must be that. I hadn't even considered that. In which case, he's about to get screwed because the other side of the house is going to hate him, and they're not going to back him up. And so we'll see. Maybe now he'll be that Lone Ranger and he'll figure it out. But I didn't feel comfortable with his position after this episode. That was my first reaction. Was like, ooh, this is not good for him. Maybe it will be. Maybe he'll
Yeah.
survive. But
Well,
he
the
put himself in
interesting
a
thing,
tough position.
the interesting thing is like the outcome. I think is fine. I do think Morgan is probably better for his game than Riley was, because she does
Mm-hmm.
seem very loyal to him, especially after losing Zach. But it's the way that he went about it. And I said the same thing when him and Zach flipped the vote 2 weeks ago, voting Adrian out, where it's like, that's fine. But the fact that you blindsided Keanu and Kelly, and now you did the same thing, but also blindsided Lauren, like the outcome is great for your game, but it's not about who went home. It's about the people that are still in the house that you didn't
Mm-hmm.
let in on this. And so that's where I'm concerned. And I'm so
Yep.
curious to see how he handles this, because I can't imagine Lauren's thrilled that she just used the veto on you, put her game on the line, being public like this is my ally, and then you don't tell me where the vote's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a thought that I had is like, man, yeah, if I looked at the two options as Riley and Morgan, I think Morgan is more valuable for your game. I think you should keep her. If I look at just about everything else and all the like context of the people who are supposed to be your allies, I don't think that's best for your game. But hey, he made his decision. And yeah, I think if he knew how much people distrusted Mickey, I would have gone the other way because they're not going to trust Mickey either way. So Mickey's going to need somebody to lean on.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. Real quick, we do got to talk about the blockbuster a little bit, because just one of the most bonehead decisions ever to lock in when you have
Oh yeah, what was
when
that
you know
about?
you had a lower number than the.
Yeah,
Did they just not understand the rules? I don't really know what happened
that's the
there.
only thing that felt correct.
Uh huh.
Also, I don't know how the rules. I don't know all the rules. I don't know if this was allowed. I would have whipped that ball down that path. I would have skipped it down the path, hoping that I got it all the way down there. I wouldn't like gently roll it until I got yelled at. I would just like fire it through there.
Yeah, I don't see why not. But like as far as I can understand, you could just keep trying until you lock it in or time's out, right?
Yeah, I would have if I saw that somebody beat me, I would have just kept going.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
it's so goofy.
And Riley was doing that. Riley went and it landed, and he was like waiting and like watching what other people were doing. And then Mickey beat him, and then he went and locked in after Morgan did.
My only thought, and this could easily be checked, I'm sure, is like, could they not see the other people's scores? Because like that would be interesting if you just didn't know what the other people had. But I'm pretty sure they could see.
Maybe they couldn't. You couldn't wait. I wonder if that was a rule where they couldn't just stand there and wait. They had to either get the ball or press the button. Like, I wonder if that was part of it, is you had to make a split-second decision at whether or not you were going to try again or not. And so they were forced to make a decision before realizing that they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
That could be. Either way, he made the wrong decision.
For like 15 seconds waiting, so.
I don't know. I just think it's going to be... Whatever the reasoning is, it's going to be viewed as like one of the biggest mistakes in Big Brother history. Because, like, I don't know. That you went home.
Still not Lawan.
Still what?
Still not Lawan.
That's true.
That will always be the worst move.
Come back with a special power up.
I might get a power. I think he did get to do a little battle back, but he definitely didn't get a power.
There was a battle back, and he most definitely lost to Brendan.
Yeah, he did.
All right. Anything else we need to hit on?
I don't think so. This was a fun episode. Week. I think somebody said that yesterday's episode was one of the best Big Brother episodes they've seen in years, and I don't know that I disagree. Like the multiple like discussions and trying to convince Lauren to do this and that. Yeah, Rachel makes good TV. I don't like her, but she makes good TV. She makes me mad. She makes good TV.
I'm so curious why people don't like this season. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's because they're just thinking of the first 4 weeks where it was the same people. But now things are starting to kick off a little bit. And it's like the last 2 weeks have been very interesting. So I think that's the big shift.
I mean,
and it was the same people every week, but it was always the last person nominated that went home. Is that true?
I was going to say, like, we're talking about Kelly and Keanu, people that are still in the house. Amy was a renom.
Adrian was a renom. Jimmy was a renom.
So, like, even by that logic, I don't buy it because there have been way worse seasons with the same people being nominated. Like, this is not... I don't think this is it. I really don't.
4 out of the 6 weeks, the renom was the person who was voted out.
Uh-huh. And you know what that means? That means the veto keeps being used, which makes for like a good season.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. We might just be in the minority.
Like, on its face, Keanu and Kelly going on the block every week is not interesting. It's not. I think there's so much good stuff that has been happening. And I made this comment yesterday when I was talking to the people I was talking to. It's like there's a chance that I have to talk about this for an hour every week. And so I have to convince myself that I enjoy it so that I enjoy talking about it every week. There's a chance. So I bear that in mind, but I'm having fun.
We've definitely had seasons where we didn't enjoy talking about it. That's for sure.
That's true. That's true.
We had to talk about All Stars.
I guess that in a couple weeks we're not going to like talking about this one.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like the past 3, maybe 4 seasons have not been horrible. We might be on an upswing. I don't know. All right. Well, that's all I got.
Hey, this is an absolute treat.
Yeah, for more episodes. Visit us on, what are we on? Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere listen to podcasts. Wait. What?
Who's going to win the wall? We know what it is. Who do you think is going to win?
Can we watch that now?
I tried to look it up. It's not up.
Also, did they move Big Brother Unlocked to Sundays?
I think it's just a special one.
My thought was that nobody's watching it, so they're trying to make it prime time now. That was my.
There's a decent chance. I'm not watching it. I watched the first one and I was like, yeah, this isn't great.
I didn't
Austin
watch
Rob
either of them.
might make me watch. And if they brought
I
in James
don't-
Gunn, that would make me watch.
James Gunn was now we confirmed watching this season, which is
He was
hilarious.
personal friends with Taylor Hale. He said it. Nathan sent me a TikTok earlier today of James Gunn talking about that.
I just was I literally my first thought was like, is this like AI? Like, why is James
There's
Gunn?
no way.
Why is like the director of one of the biggest summer blockbusters this year talking about the current aired season of Big Brother? It's so
Yeah.
weird.
I have this like mentality that no one watches Big Brother. That's genuinely how I just live my life, is that like no one watches this. I'm not going to talk to anybody about it. It's just something that I enjoy with my friend Nathan. And the couple people that obviously do watch, but like if I meet somebody, I'm not like, "Do you watch Big Brother?" That's never how you lead.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
it's true. Like, there's probably 10 other shows I would bring up before this one. As far as like, oh, you should watch this, or I watch this. Anyways, I already said where you can find us.
Now you can do it.
All right, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube at NJPPod at NJPPod. I'm Nathan. This is Tony, and we will see you next week.
Shout out all my peaches at the A.